it is female friendships, right? And um, female friendships and how notorious they are. How notorious they are. This is from my own experiences, from previous female friendships and even work colleagues that I've encountered that have been very notorious and just plain savages, right? Just outright plain savages. And I know that this is not a really famous topic to talk about, especially when it comes to female friendships that are like cliques. When you're part of a clique, you sort of agree. It's more like Mean Girls. When I think of cliques, I often think of Mean Girls and that whole movie about Mean Girls. So when I remember the movie Mean Girls, it makes me think about very shallow individuals that are like very I don't want to use shallow, but it is shallow, like surface level kind of friendships that have no depth, right? When you look at the movie, the recent Mean Girls movie, the last one, which I think came out a few years ago, the latest one. I'm not really sure who the actors and the actresses are, but there's that one blonde girl who's leading this clique. She's rich, she's famous in school, it's in high school setting, and they look like they have it all together. Don't mind me, I'm gonna turn off the, the messages now. Um, but thank you for joining. So it's like when you look on the outside, it looks like they are the best girl gang group, ride or die, sort of. It gives that feel, right? But when they leave and they're in that blonde girl's house, you discover that they're not as unified as they make it out to be on the outside looking in, right? You discover that they're very insecure about themselves. You discover that they are very surface level people. They worry about how big their paws are. They worry about losing weight and doing all the things that make them look good in the public eye. Like that there was that one leader. Gosh, I forget her name. I'm not really good when it comes to remembering names. But she was like leading the group because she was rich and famous and her parents spoiled her. Her mom was kind of vicariously living through her, through the guys that she dated in school, which I think was very toxic because you're not supposed to be best friends with your child. You're supposed to be their mom, not be their best friend. And another character that I won't forget in that movie was the girl who told the girl who introduced, who sort of took this new girl who had arrived at the school through the tour of what the cliques are. And she told them about the Mean Girls group and how she got betrayed in that Mean Girls group, and how she basically poured her heart out, and how they grew up with the leader of that Mean Girls group and how they had a falling out. And later on in the movie, you discover that the girl that she was pouring her heart out to became the exact same version of the Mean Girls because she wanted to fit in so badly, and she became mean and just very shallow. So when I think about female friendships, in my experiences that I've had with female friendships, I'm not saying it's all bad. You can have like really good. meaningful female friendships. But in most cases, you would find like 80% of the time that there's a shallowness to it. Like there's almost like a need to perform to be in that friendship or group or that clique or whatever. There's like a need to hold a certain kind of standard so that you're seen in a certain kind of way. And I think that it's not authentic. I don't think that a friendship should be performative or should be, if you don't do this, you're not part of us, or if you do this, you're not part of us. Should be organic, right? Should be coming from a place of just organically getting to know each other, just organically developing that muscle of being there for each other. No love bombing, of course, because I feel like sometimes people study you to see your weaknesses and they study to see your strengths, and then they sort of maneuver around that so that they can sort of get in to infiltrate or get certain information. Because I feel like as females, we are naturally, it's a toxic trait if we're not healed to be like competitive and we compare ourselves to the next female. And it takes a certain level of healing, a certain level of self-awareness for you to be in a place where you are not comparing yourself to the next female, but you're fixing each other's crowns, fixing each other's crowns. So why do I say female friendships are notorious? Because sometimes you can be, I've had this one experience with this one lady that I was working with, where she seemed open and friendly and all the things, up until I actually discovered that this woman has a Jezebel spirit. Like on a whole nother level, like manipulation. Because sometimes females do that. They study your weaknesses and your strengths so that they can kind of infiltrate you, see how they can sort of use you in a way. And sometimes if it's someone that you work with, they will get in your good graces only to backstab you, like to talk badly behind you, or you're slacking, you're not doing your job well, or certain things that you share about the boss, they will take back to the boss and create like this whole smear campaign behind your back, basically. And you are now seen as the villain at work. Females are notorious. This has happened to me like multiple times because I feel like God wanted to teach me boundaries. He wanted to teach me how to be not too trusting. And also because I believe He wanted to teach me how to be professional in the workplace, to know that some people are just meant to be your colleagues, especially in the workplace. Mm, you can authentically have people that you get along with, but you still need to uphold those standards of them just being a colleague and nothing more. So when it comes to like females being notorious, even in the church, um, because the church would be maybe the safest place where you are supposed to get that sisterhood, love, bonding, developing, or helping each other, leaning on each other. But you would actually find that people sometimes have other intentions. People sometimes just want to be liches because sometimes when you have a good heart and you want to show how much you're there for people. And I believe also it's just them not being fully healed again. And also sometimes if it walks like a duck, it sounds like a duck, then it is a duck and you have to put up boundaries, right? So this is something that I've been really just, it's been bugging me because I feel like it's something that we don't talk about mostly. And sometimes females are notorious even when it comes to relationships. Maybe they are eyeing your man, they see mhlambe he treats you well, or he's a certain kind of caliber of a man, and females will befriend you, and the next thing you know, boom. Umhloniphe umuntu wesifazane is all I'm going to say. Like, I have seen, even in friendships, people who just milk you for information, but they're not really interested in how well you're doing in the relationship. They just want to siphon that information so that they can sort of use it on you later to get into the guy's good graces, right? Or sometimes they paint the guy, if they know the guy, they will paint them to be a villain, but they have other intentions. They want to get with the guy. Yep, I said it. And also, I've watched a lot of videos here on YouTube, like females who have built their careers and who have built a platform for themselves in social media, and they actually speak about their own life's experiences on this whole destiny swap thing, and how people can actually study you and see where your weaknesses are, see where your traits are, so that they can maybe infiltrate the your destiny helpers, or the people that are meant to help you along the journey. They start mimicking. This is actually something that's happened to me. It's so weird. It is so weird, like, because you're just sitting there, like, if you would just only go to God, He would give you your identity, and you wouldn't have to try to be somebody else, because we all have a fingerprint that is specifically, we all have a blueprint that's specifically for you, and we all have a blueprint that God has aligned for you before you were even formed in your mother's womb. And it sounds weird, but I know that we're in the last days, where we all have this information that's at our disposal. I guess in the olden days it was more subtle, and because people didn't have the language to actually articulate what it was. But this is a real thing where people study you, and they want to see what open doors you have that the Lord has for you, so they can try to get through those doors before you do, or try to infiltrate those relationships before you do, or just outright sabotage those relationships because they don't want you to get to that level before they do, or they feel like just your mere existence is blocking whatever blessings that they could have, which is such a ridiculous thing. You see how the enemy is a liar? Like, the devil is a liar. He comes only to steal, kill, and to destroy. And I think he just plants a seed, especially when you are maybe not healed. We all have insecurities and something that we're insecure about, and we're all a work in progress, right? I'm not saying I'm like there, like I'm on 100% level of healing, but where I am today is better than where I was even a week ago, even a few days ago, even a year, a month, a week ago. And I feel like it's just an identity crisis, because when you have a relationship with God, He gives you your identity. You don't have to second guess who you are, and you don't have to try and take somebody else's things, right? I think this now this whole destiny swap, this star stealing thing is like a thing on social media, because people actually now have the information, and of course some choose to be ignorant about it, and they choose to turn a blind eye when it's actually a real thing. Like, witchcraft is a real thing, and witchcraft doesn't necessarily have to be you mixing up potions or concoctions. Can be just you trying to mimic somebody else. That's witchcraft. Creating smear campaigns on somebody's name, that is witchcraft. you know, and creating a fake persona so you can um kind of infiltrate somebody because you feel like, oh, I've seen their weaknesses and their weak spots, and so now I'm gonna use that against them, or whatever the case might be. That is not from God. Like, it's not. So, also, just getting back to topic, I know that I've digressed. Um, Going back to how females are notorious, in all my experiences of working with both males and females, females are the most notorious because when you have a grudge or you have beef with a guy, you guys sort of like out it out, it's sorted out on the spot, whether you are taking each other to HR or you're taking each other to, your supervisor or whatever, it's going to be sorted on the spot. But females plan and they connive, and and they are vengeful. That's why I'm saying females are notorious. Creating smear campaigns is a notorious act. It is a vicious act because it paints the other person as the villain when maybe uh you have poked that person. It's like poking the bear until the bear actually reacts because you have been poking that person, and then eventually they snap. See how notorious females are, because they have studied your weaknesses and they know when to hit the spot. So it's also just one of the things that I've learned. The mic is not really doing anything, it's just making me feel professional about my videos. But anyway, just gosh, I have I have friendships that are like very healthy, and we are all a work in progress. But one thing that I've noticed is you really need to vet your friendships. And sometimes when you feel the energy is off, that's there for a reason. And sometimes it doesn't take lightning from the sky, it just takes the energy being off that one time and you not shunning it away, but actually listening to your intuition. And in all these different scenarios, it has really brought me to myself to work on the boundaries that I needed to work on. And no matter how uncomfortable that is for me in the beginning, or uncomfortable for both of us, me and the person, but understanding that my peace is more important. And whether that be in a workplace environment or just you having a falling out with a certain individual, but knowing that once you've seen the spots, there's no going back, because a leopard does not change its spots, honey. If it's a leopard, it's a leopard. You know what I mean? And also just going back to, because females are very subtle, like it's not like sexual harassment where you are maybe sexually harassed. It's like emotional harassment, but it's so subtle because it pulls on your heartstrings. It's a, how's your family, how's your kids, just just, I feel like especially in the workplace, just keep it professional by all means necessary, because you are not in people's heads. You do not know the thoughts that they have towards you, especially when you are um maybe getting the spotlight on you at a job, or maybe in whatever profession that you're doing. The just a hint of envy, run away. Run. And I guess it's really, sometimes it's unavoidable. But one thing that I've learned from the experiences that I've had is to have boundaries. Have boundaries, because people will push it. They will push the limits. They will push limits. They will take you to 180. They will take it to 360. People will push the limits. Just have boundaries and always just know why you're there, and know that the workplace is a place where you cannot have friendships. And I know you want to get along with people because that's just the heart that you have, but unfortunately, I'm gonna end it here for today, and I hope that you guys got something from this video. I'll see you on the next one. But before I go, I want to read the scripture, which is found in Proverbs 18, verse 24, which reads, "One who has unreliable friends soon comes to ruin, but there is a friend who sticks closer than a brother." So this can be in the context of just friendships in general. Jesus is a friend that sticks closer than a brother, and he's going to be the one who's going to teach you even boundaries where you feel like you're lacking, even in the workplace, and just vetting people before you allow them to be in your personal space or allow them to get an inch closer to you, because you are non people's heads. You don't know what intentions they have, and really just praying about every encounter that you have with individuals, because they will save you a lot of trouble and heartache. This is all that I have to say today, and I hope you got something from this video. And until next time, I'll see you guys on the next one as the Holy Spirit leads. Until then, peace.